Since the first day I rolled into the Bella Coola Valley back in the late 90s, I fell in love with this place. And the last time I was here was maybe 6 or 7 years ago, filming the documentary film Steep with Shane McConkey, Seth Morrison, Eric Piota, and Doug Coombs. To come back this time and sort of revisit that brought back all these memories, most importantly, memories of Doug Coombs, because 2 weeks after we got done filming here for the movie Steep, Doug passed away in Le Grave, France. He really helped shape who I was as a mountain athlete. He had an incredible charismatic personality. For me, as a young, up-and-coming skier, I really looked up to what he represented. Putting together the team for any trip, but in particular this trip, is really important. Adam Clark and I have been friends for many, many years. Whether it's with a camera in his hand or with the skis on his feet, he's just solid. Griffin Post was a natural. You know, he and I hadn't done a mountaineering trip ever.
The forecast was unsettled, as they like to say, which means they have no idea what's going to happen. The heli left and the storm was there.
When we got in there, we really only had a couple of hours to set up camp, to dig some walls, to anchor the tents.
It's almost like your survival instinct kicks in.
Griffin, we gotta get the fly on. Okay, let's do it. Dig some anchors, get that fly on.
It was gnarly, and I've spent years out in the mountains doing this kind of thing, and it was still one of the worst windstorms that I've encountered out there.
West Coast Helicopters Base from Chris Davenport. Do you guys happen to have an updated forecast?
There's another front coming in on the coast tonight, so it looks like it will deteriorate.
Thank you so much for that, and we'll check in with you again tomorrow morning.
What day is it? Wednesday?
I don't know, but that forecast didn't sound very good.
No, that did not sound very promising. Spending 4 days in the tent, just listening to the wind howl was just incessant. It's like driving down the highway at 80 miles an hour with all your windows open, and there's no way to turn that wind off.
At first, you have these fantasies of skiing everything and the perfect trip, and then you start just having fantasies of skiing anything, just getting out of the tent.
You have to have patience. The mountains demand it and the weather demands it. And if you're comfortable just being patient and not worrying, you're gonna get it eventually. You're gonna get the goods. And sure enough, clouds broke and it just turned spectacular. You could see the peaks and the spires pointing out above the clouds, and it was like, we gotta go, let's go. It finally clears, and we know that we've only got a limited amount of time, a few more days left. It was game on.
The amount of anticipation that 4 days in a tent brings, it's like nothing I've ever felt before, because when it does go blue, you're like, all right, game on.
Within minutes of hiking up that ridge, it was just this beautiful sight, and I knew it was happening.
All right, Griffin, in 10 seconds.
Wow, that's so good!
Dude.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Nice one.
All right, 10 seconds.
Up we go.
As soon as you climb out of the valley here, you're in massive alpine playground.
Sitting on that col the last day, looking out on mountains upon mountains upon mountains, you look over that next ridge and there's just a whole nother world of stuff to come back to.
That's one of the biggest days I've ever put in my legs. I think Griffin said that was the most productive day of human-powered skiing and filming that he'd ever had. This place just seemed like a natural place to return because I have so much history here.
Listening to Dav tell stories about his last trip with Doug, which was here, and experience that character through Dav, it was just kind of a really special time because even though, I never knew Doug, I still feel that connection to him from the sport and from what he's accomplished. To have that sense of adventure, just push through these hard boundaries and deal with weather and down days, just makes this experience so much different than anything else in skiing.
In the big world of skiing, I would call this adventure skiing for sure, at its finest.